We are coming to the last conversation of the day, and then it's always dangerous to be the one standing between that and the boat ride or the drinks afterwards. So let me, since this is a conference on Harvard, I wanted to introduce His Excellency the Ambassador to Sri Lankan Ambassador to UAE, former senior advisor to Abu Dhabi government, former vertical CEO of Saudi Arabia as one of the largest companies, and my dear friend, Ambassador Udaya Indrarathna, to come and give us a little talk about how we make these changes actually happen. We talked about a lot of changes, but how do we actually implement them? What are the frameworks? What are the learning? Maybe even to refresh some of those Management 101, 201 classes we took. So, and after that, I will join the Ambassador for a few questions. Thank you, Ambassador. Please give him a big round of applause. He flew all the way just to help us with this.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'm profoundly thank you, Harvard Club, for inviting me to attend this keynote for this distinguished Harvard alumni, 150 coming from 54 countries. I think it's truly, I'm honored. Thank you, Asanka. Thank you, Bale, for inviting me. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Chief of Defense, General Shavendra Silva, who is with us, and everyone in this room. So, Big, Bold and Brave 2024, I think it's a timely initiative for Sri Lanka. And my task, I think, Asanka, I have like 25 minutes, I think, to kind of engage with you, how can we build a national competitive advantage and sustainable one. So, well, after we listened to Mr. Deepak Bagla, it was truly inspiring speech. So I think he has done part of my job already for all of you. I think it was truly amazing. And for me, Mr. Deepak Bagla is such an inspiring star in my life. So it was truly an honor to meet him here. And so let me engage with you next maybe 20 minutes, how I think we can build national competitive advantage, just not for Sri Lanka, also for corporates. The first thing is when you build a competitive advantage, there are two ideas. One is comparative advantage, one is competitive advantage. A comparative advantage is a given advantage where you are given, for example, Sri Lanka, beautiful country, island nation, the fastest or growing, what you call the shipping lines around our country, rich soil, everything is given. But competitive advantage is you need to build. That's competency. So most of the countries that built competitive advantage not necessarily had comparative advantage. So in fact, many countries that thrived in today, that they had very little comparative advantage. But Sri Lanka is blessed with a lot of comparative advantage. In particular, I think from my own mind, Sri Lankans are one of the most skillful people in the world. I work everywhere. We are so adaptable and so skillful. So we need to see how we can capitalize on that talent part and build competitive Sri Lanka. One country I can think of that built such competitive advantage without competitive advantage is Finland. What we need, one trigger point. What that means, before building competitive advantage, we need to believe we can do it. And that's the first point. The Finland story is a great story because Finland, many years ago, had the largest suicides in the world. Why? Because they were depressed, very cold climate. They had nothing more than snow to look forward to. The leadership thought about it and they were looking for a trigger point. And the trigger point was ice hockey. So what they did was they built ice hockey infrastructure around Finland where Finn people came and started celebrating. And all of a sudden, they believed that Finn people could do it. And to the level they won World Cup, which was unprecedented at that time, competing with Canada, Czechoslovakia, Russia, USA, etc. So then Finnish started believing, yes, we could do it. Today, Finland is the happiest country in the world for 6 years running. They're one of the largest tech entrepreneurs in the world, and education is best in the world. So similarly, we need a trigger point if we are to build competitive advantage. Now, competitive advantage is based on competency. For my own books, there are at least 5 areas when you think about competency. The first is the strategic competency. Strategic competency is the ability to strategize, is the ability to build master plans, the roadmaps, and so on. That's a starting point of a competitive advantage as far as strategic competency is concerned. The second is the execution capabilities of a leadership, that we are how to build competitive advantage, how do you execute. The execution is not possible. The third cluster is the resources. So resources means you need financial resources, access to funds, the physical resources, third, your skill, and then last is your network. Without having a proper network, it's very difficult for you to compete. So the leadership has to bring about this 4, which is the access to resources, access to markets, and access to finance and skill. The fourth one is talent development and talent acquisition. So that competency, able to attract talent and to build regularly and put that team to do what's supposed to do. The fifth cluster is the personal proficiency. How do you build yourself, the integrity, the proficiency that require to be a leader? Because without these 5 competencies surround you, very difficult to lead and build competitive advantage. So, when I build strategy models, the first one, what I do is that I at least look into 3 things that before I build a model, which I've done hundreds of models around the world. So the first is the economic contribution. How do you bring money factor to that particular strategy? The second is the sustainability, which is the political, social, economic, and environment sustainability of what you're supposed to do. You're not damaging what you're trying to do. The last is the world class, the best of class in that. So with that 3 strategy thinking in mind, when you build a plan, it's always a good plan. Then control evaluation. How do you navigate? How do you take your vision or aspiration to A to B? But the problem in this all too is how do you cascade to the people that work and how do you align that? That's the issue. And for that only the strategic tools comes. Last 55 years, the world has produced more than 81 strategic tools, from balanced scorecard to BCG matrix to all that. But the problem of even, I think, most of the educated public is that they don't seem to use the strategic tools. That's a huge problem. So the countries that have thrived that in cascading and navigating is ability to use cascading mechanisms or models. So very good example is a Japanese model where Professor Edward Deming built the Japanese model, and Professor Deming is called the economic miracle man of Japan. And for that UAE as well, the excellence model, which has made the strategy and the evaluation and control aligned to every single body. So the speed has come. So if we are to build competitive advantage, it's a very important that we find alignment machinery, which is a cascading mechanism. So if I look at the excellence model, it has 9 criteria, the 5 enabler criteria and 4 research criteria. The first criteria is the leadership criteria. Leadership criteria is how do you visionize? And it has like 5 sub-criteria and 60 sub-criteria, where everyone in your organization and every single department and every single ministry is taught our role of a leader. The second criteria is a policy and strategy criteria. How do you filter leadership thinking within an organization? And again, 4 sub-criteria, but 35 sub-criteria. And the third criteria is skill. How do you build your people, skillful people? And the fourth is your society. How do you engage the society in the vision that you build? The fifth is the processes that you create, whether you are there or not, the machinery juggernaut runs, right? So that's part of the excellence model, the 5 enabler. The 4 research criteria is the customer research, the happiness part, then the people research, and the society, and all the KPIs. So the 9 particular model criteria has taken many countries to the other level. So is companies, right? So the annual evaluation comes at the dashboard. You can clearly see how much out of 1,000 points you scored per criteria as well as totally. So if your organization or company or ministry had 600 points last year, this year 700, you're 100 points growth, so you're growing. And in order, dashboard will also tell you which area you have weakness and which area you have a strength. So all what I'm saying is that, yes, a strategy very important, the evaluation, control, navigation important, but cascading alignment is the most important if we are to bring competitive advantage. Now, having that kind of thing in mind, the way forward for Sri Lanka or for any country, what we need to do, because it's very important. I think Asanka told me to tell how to do it. The most of the countries that have thrived in this particular area, what they've done, they build first a country strategic plan. A country strategic plan normally have at least 5 to 6 sectors, which are economy, social, infrastructure, security, government, excellence, so on. Within this sector, it has clusters. For example, economy, as you know, economy has at least 3 sectors, which are agri-economy, service economy, and manufacture economy. Within these 3 sectors, the best countries they have done is they have identified 30, 40 clusters. For example, agri-economy, tea, rubber, coconut, etc. And what they've done is that this cluster, they then benchmark with the similar cluster in a country which have done best. And they put a target. We match this as world-class way. So in this manner, if Sri Lanka or any country can select certain clusters and then say, look here, today 1 billion, we are on a journey of 5 billion, and put in the necessary resources for that and the leadership to that cluster could take a country to other level. So imagine if we can build 20 clusters such as that, then obviously competitive advantage can be definitely achieved. So having said that, again, we need to discuss how can we do. What is economy? Economy has at least 6 engines, right? It's called micro, small, medium, and large enterprises in the middle. The last layer, the self-employment. On top of is the state-owned enterprises. So the 6 engines that create an economy of a countries are micro, small, medium, large, and self-employment, and of course, state-owned enterprises. Now these 6 areas behave very differently. The government role is to bring sideways the policy that is matching the 6 areas where micro could come to small, small to medium, medium to large. That's how economy will grow. And then sideways you have to also bring entrepreneurship, startup, and also nation brand and so on. And so building national competitive advantage for a country require very much competency leadership and a very well thought of strategic competency in order to build that and aspire. As Mr. Bagla said, that how India has built these beautiful models and create this unprecedented success story is, I think, remarkable for all of us. Because Sri Lanka having all the resources, best of talent, I am sure we can do it. And this is what it is. So, I think, Asanka, how many minutes do I have? Right. So, So I think in this manner, we are very confident that we should build the models, the strategy frameworks, and then obviously alignment models, and then a dashboard to evaluate and control. But I think last but not least, we need to think about how we can unite Sri Lanka. And I think Howard is a very great opportunity for us. In my own mind, I think a lot of brain drain Sri Lanka had last 20, 30 years. So I think this particular platform should be one platform where we could do a reverse brain drain and asking everyone to come and build competitive advantage, because a lot of skills have unfortunately left our country. So I think my recommendation to you, all of you, is how can we take this particular initiative, which I think big, bold and brave for sure, and to the next level where we will definitely get the talent back, even if they don't come, how they support us. Me, as an ambassador, I went to UAE about 14 months ago. What I did was, I set up a competitive mindset and I said, I will build best possible Sri Lankan embassy in the world. I basically focus on 8 areas: foreign direct investment to Sri Lanka, how to build a good export economy for Sri Lankans, tourism, how do I engage our community, and then what about inclusiveness, and so on. So we are on a very clear, targeted mindset, and for us to build this very efficient embassy ecosystem in UAE, and I think we are very much on the way. I'm very proud to say that we are working, me and my team, really working hard with the full support of Foreign Ministry in Colombo to build this dream for Sri Lanka. So I'm really happy to say that Sri Lanka is regenerating. Sri Lanka is very resilient. I think under His Excellency, the President of Sri Lanka, we have made remarkable comeback. And I think, as you know, in 2 years, we have made huge change. Our inflation was so high and so much issues, but now in less than 20 months, we have really made a huge comeback. So we want Howard to come forward and give us all the support with your billionaire network and one of the CEO powerful network to rebuild Sri Lanka and make our country the most proud. Last but not least is the Singapore's secret formula. Nothing can be done without the MPH theory. M for meritocracy, right people for right job. P for pragmatism, that you play the game for ball by ball. And H for honesty. And I think with Singapore's secret formula in play, I think we can really build competitive advantage. Thank you so much for listening to me. And let's rebuild Sri Lanka. And I think competitive advantage very much is achievable if we are together, united. And I think Sri Lanka deserves it more than anybody else. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.